Hey, what's up? Welcome back to Age 40 Years. Welcome to winter in South Carolina. So, as you can see, not a normal thing, but we are having a snowstorm here. Um, I think this is only the second time that we've had measurable snow since I've lived here, which is almost 4 years. So, kind of fun. Dogs are enjoying it. Kids were out in it earlier. I'm also smoking a chicken out there, and yeah, just kind of taking it in. It's pretty. I'm from the north originally, so it's just kind of fun to see, right? So, what does that mean we're going to do for a blind? Well, I felt like one of the best whiskeys to excuse me, to have in cold weather like this, particularly snowstorm, is Rise. And I've not done a rye blind specifically. That's just Rise. So what I have here is 5 different ryes. I know what they are. I don't know what they are in the glass, but I picked the 5 ryes and then my wife randomized them. Now all of them are ryes that I picked up in 2025. Um, and I think they're a great representation of just the rye category in general. You know, it is a smaller category. It's not always as popular by any means as bourbon. I do think it's growing in popularity, but in general, it's not quite as popular. But there's some great products out there. So there's some in here that I've already featured in some other videos, and some that I have not. So I just want to, one of them I bought last year, but I don't know that actually, I think it's a 2024 release, but I bought it last year, actually right at the end of last year. So just trying to stay warm here. We got a fire in the fireplace. We've got chicken on the grill, and we've got a whiskey blind in front of us. So with that, let's go ahead and nope, not going to get started. Reminder, this time we're going to put it over here. So reminder to please like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are up to over 110 subscribers now, so it's awesome. Getting a lot more comments on videos, which is cool. I'd like to know what you think of the Sip, Savor, Secure short form stuff we're doing on YouTube Shorts. But hey, just having a good time, enjoying some whiskey, and sharing those thoughts and ideas with you guys. For whatever reason, saying a lot today. I need to knock that off. It's the cold weather. It's the snow. But I mean, look at it. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We got 5 rye whiskeys that we're going to get through. And I can see them over here, so if you see me looking over there. I don't know that I'll try and name them. Maybe I will. I don't feel like I can pick out a specific rye as well as I can other things, but we'll see. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with A. Take my notes here. Got a little water here. Hope everybody's doing well. So, kind of funny. Briefly forgot what I was doing, and I was gonna say this smells like a rye. Well, no kidding, Greg. Of course, it smells like a rye. But this is your definition of rye smell. You got that spearmint smell on the nose. It's really good though. It's not overdone. But you get that minty kind of fresh smell on the nose, which, I mean, that's why I like rye so much. Now, what I really like in a rye is when it takes that minty spearmint on the nose and then it translates to something a little different on the palate. If that spearmint flavor just carries through all the way through, generally I find that I like a little bit of differentiation in the overall taste. Now, for those of you who have seen some of my blinds, my wife pours some big pours, so I had to give her some instruction that some of these are pretty heavy hitters. So had to give her a little bit of instruction on it, help me out here a little. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, that's a great start. So A is doing exactly what I want it to do. Spearmint on the nose translates into a caramely, brown, sugary. Oh, that is fantastic. God, that is good. Proof point on that, I'm gonna say like 105, 108, 10, somewhere in there. Not overly proofy. Nice hug though. It's got a nice hug. So um, just put some notes. And I'm going to go ahead and start scoring. That one's a good start. Good start. Okay. Do a little palate cleanse. I do feel like with a rye, palate cleanse is even more important. Who y'all got in the Super Bowl? Obviously, my Colts aren't in it. Had a disaster of a season going 8-2 and then missing the playoffs. But I'm rooting for the Seahawks. I really am. As a Colts fan, I just despise the Patriots, and nothing against them really today. Other than can't really say I enjoy Robert Kraft. I think the Drake May story is great. I think him coming from North Carolina and elevating very quickly is great. I think it's nice to see Vrabel. As much as I don't like Vrabel that much, I think it's good to see him kind of have a renaissance in New England. But look, Sam Darnold, I think, is just an ideal story for a Super Bowl. He's bounced around all over the place, been a backup places, and then goes to Minnesota. They let him go because J.J. McCarthy's coming back, and now he's got him in the Super Bowl. It's pretty cool. Nose on this one, a lot more proofy, not nearly as spearminty. This tastes more, or noses, more like just your standard bourbon. Now, I will say, it's got a little bit more of a fresh vibe to it than like your sweet bourbon, but it's like a sweet, or it's like a fresh brown sugar. Also, it has a strange, like bready note to it that I can't quite place. But another good nose. Let's see how this one shapes up. Now that one is also quite good, but it has like a nature, like a damp tree flavor coming through on the back end, on the palate, into the finish even. Also not as proofy. It smelled more proofy on the front end, but not nearly as proofy on the back end. I mean, also quite good, and also a varied experience. That's a pretty curious one. I'm going to have to come back to that one. That's going to get a revisit note because there's something going on there. I'm going to go ahead and score it, but I think I need to come revisit it and just see what we think, because there's just an interesting dynamic going on with that one. As I look at the bottles that are over there, I have a hard time imagining that's any of them, but I know it is, so we'll see. Let's move on to C. Now this is curious, and maybe it's impacting my... It's really weird to get A so spearmint forward on the nose, because these other two have not been, and now I'm wondering what's different about them. Or is that one just like a real strong in-your-face rye? This one's not proofy. It's probably, I'd say that one, probably 100 proof. This one, maybe even less than that, 95. I don't know if any of these are 95. I don't know what the proof point is on all of them. But this one's a totally different experience now. I mean, this is just bourbon. That just smells like bourbon. I don't know. I mean, there's no mistaking that for anything related to a rye specifically. So what could that mean? It could mean it has a lower rye content. The percentage of it that's rye could be lower. But if you put this in a blind and didn't know that it was a rye, I would have a hard time on the nose picking that out. Let's go ahead and try it. Whereas like A, immediately rye. I mean, just without a doubt. So let's see what this one is. Now, okay. On the nose, that one wasn't as proofy. The proof point on that, on the nose, was not nearly as high. Huh, interesting. I feel like that's a lot more proof on the back end. I'm gonna put that at like a 115. But the palate is similar bourbon. I mean, it's just bourbon flavor, which is not a bad thing. So it might just be lower rye content, but it's brown sugary, it's sweet, it's rich. Question is now, as I score them, is what am I going for here, right? Am I just going for which one do I like the most, or which one's the best rye? But knowing that they're all ryes, though, who really cares if one tastes more like a rye and more like a bourbon? If I'm really just kind of saying, at this time, as I'm scoring, man, the hug on this one is making me think that this one's pushing higher than 115. But good flavor, really rich, brown sugary, just standard bourbon. So I'm guessing lower, I'm going to guess that one's a lower rye content. Or they've just really done a nice job of balancing it. All right. On to D. We're cruising. D. You know, this snow here in South Carolina, we do have plows. I would say my road, I don't know if you can see the street. I don't know what the lighting's quite like. But my road doesn't need to be plowed. None of them should. There's not really enough snow for that. But it's supposed to keep going till 11 o'clock tonight, which is another 6 hours. So we'll see what it looks like after that. Now this is, oh man, that nose is incredible. That's rich, but it does have that fresh spearminty just undertone there. That minty, I mean, heavy brown sugar, but also a mix of that mint smell. Man, that is complex. That is a complex nose. Can't wait to try this one. I mean, almost like a brown sugar cookie. Like it just super sweet. Just chew right into this thing. But yet still has that rye tone of freshness. So let's see. You know, color on this one's also a good bit darker, it seems like. I don't know. Hard to distinguish when I look at these. But I think this one's a little bit darker color-wise. So maybe a little bit older. Oh, now actually, I'm getting more of that spearmint. I took it away and it came back, and I'm getting a little bit more of that. But it's not like this one. This one was a very like sharp spearmint. This one's more of a modest, like moderate, rich spearmint. But then it translates right into that brown sugar. You know, sometimes also rye tastes like rubber or smell like rubber bands to me. You know that smell of a rubber band where it's just kind of like, I don't know. How do you describe the smell of a rubber band? But sometimes rye smell a little bit like that. It's like a rich rubber band. Whoa. That's an adventure. That is an adventure. I'm having a hard time picking out notes in that. Interesting. That one is something else. What did we just get into on that one? Now again, I haven't had all of these that often, so I'm not real sure what that is. Gosh. I'm going to have to try that again, just to give you any notes, give you any feedback, and really to make a determination on a ranking. Definitely higher proof. I'm going to put that one at like a 1. See, the other one I think I'm going to, gosh, I don't know. I'm going to put this one at like a 118, maybe a 120. You know, the notes on that are really hard to pick out. The notes are oddly thin and vague. So does that make sense? It's trying to give you a lot of different notes, but not giving you any. And I'm not. It's been a minute since I've had something that's like that, where you know there's stuff there, but then on the end, it's even almost got like a funky finish. But the proof, I mean, on the hug, very good. So that's like the best nose so far, but I don't know. The palate doesn't really hold up to me on that one. That one's weird. I'm gonna have to come back to it after I try some more of these. And just see what we got there, because that between the nose, the palate, and finish, that was an interesting experience. Now this one, Columbia Bourbon Society. I live in Lexington, just outside Columbia. I don't have 5 clips. I don't have a E clip, but so we'll just use this to mark this glass. Last one. We'll see what we think. Nose. Okay, now see we've bookended with the spearmint. This one's a good bit of spearmint also. I still, let me see. I'm all messed up. Yeah, this one's probably the most like biting of that fresh minty taste. That's what I thought, that I wanted to go back to A because A was also pretty strong in that regard. That one's tasting real thin. It also it's kind of nutty, low proof. I'm gonna say lower proof. Can you all hear the wind chimes back there? Things are going crazy. If you can, I'm sorry. Nice little background noise, I guess. Okay. Now I want to go and just go back to a few of these. I think I want to try. First, I want to go back and the last one I'm going to try is A, just because I want to have that one. You know, sometimes I feel like it gets biased as you go through it, positively or negatively. So let's go back to B and see what we think. And I'm not going to water in between. Maybe some of them, but. I mean, that's good. Here's the thing, all of them are pretty good. I still don't know what's going on with D. That's a interesting one overall. The color, I don't... B is definitely a little sweeter. I think that's got to be the lowest proof point. That's my guess. Lowest proof. That's one I had revisit. Lowest proof. Okay, and now I am going to do a little water. Watch me be wrong and that be the highest proof. Let's go back to the last one here. I'm just not vibing with this one today. The thing I love about these blinds is, yeah, something about that one today. I don't know, the finish on that was good. I don't think you can go wrong with any of these, quite frankly. We need to revisit D, and then we need to try A again. Gosh, that one's better on the second try. Now let's go back to D. Seriously, rubber band. That's so weird. That nose is great. The rest is eh. I'm struggling with that one a bit. And I don't mean like bad. I just mean compared to the others, for some reason it's just not holding up today. Now, could that end up being one of the ones that I've given reviews on or put in my top 5 or 7 or whatever at whiskeys? Almost certainly that's what'll happen, just because that's how these go, right? And that's how blinds are. That's what I like about a blind is that could be my favorite whiskey I've ever had normally. But today, it could just be that, look, wasn't what I was feeling. Wasn't great with snow. I don't know the reason, but let's go back to A and see what we got here. Yeah, nice balance of spearmint on the nose, just like the first time. Okay. All right, I think I'm ready. I might... Yeah, I think I'm ready. Now that we've tried them all again, might as well just try C again. Go back to it one more time. While I'm tasting that, I'm going to move these out of the way. Yeah, that one's good. I mean, that's the thing. Gosh, they're all good. They're all great for this weather, too. I mean, like, seriously. Okay. So, I have the folded up rankings right here. I'm going to do a this way to this way order of what I liked and what I didn't, or what the order is. So, first one, in last place, last place, I had the Columbia Bourbon Society bottle, which is, weird. That is this Penelope straight rye whiskey, 12 years single barrel, 108 proof, estate collection. Now, I got this one recently, so I haven't had a lot of time with it, but for whatever reason, that one just was not hitting the mark today. I love Penelope. In fact, I gave some of this to a friend last night to try, and he really liked it. I'm gonna have to keep revisiting it, but not bad. Again, not bad. Just didn't really hold up today. Also, I think one of the more expensive bottles in this blind, maybe the most expensive bottle in this blind, so that's interesting. Second place was D. D is, my notes on this one were that it was proofy, and by God, it is proofy. This is a Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye. My bottle is 136.9 proof. This was bottled on 3/14/24. A well-reviewed bottle in general. And, what I said was it had the best nose, but it had a funky finish. That one really had the hug on it. But look, that's a bottle that a lot of people really enjoy. The nice thing is this one is now shelf available. So everywhere I go, you can get this bottle. Hopefully these are lining up. Who knows? We'll find out in post-production, which I don't have. All right, so let's go to third place. Third place was B, and B is, Sagamore 10-year. Now this did show up in one of my videos for best rye last year. It was one of my top bottles of last year. I love this bottle. I'm on my second one, and third place in this rye lineup is pretty good. So Sagamore 10-year, again, just for those that haven't watched the other, this is an MGP product, distilled in Indiana, bottled by Sagamore. I think they're trying to get to a 10-year statement themselves, but that's a great bottle. I love that bottle. And third place, nothing to be upset about. In second place, I had C. Wow. Which means I know what won. Crazy. Crazy. Okay. C is Old Overholt. Old Overholt cask strength straight rye whiskey, aged 12 years. Born in PA, made in Kentucky. I picked this up at a North Carolina store not too long ago. They just had it sitting out. That's a pricey bottle, but gosh, that one's really good. I had some of the notes on that one it was rich, it was sweet, it tasted the most like bourbon. This one was barreled in 2013. This is a 58.5% alcohol by volume, and I guessed 115 proof on this, and it's 117 proof. 58.5, 117. By Price is Right rules, I killed that. Which brings us to our winner of this blind, which this just tells me I need to get a backup of this bad boy. I've seen it sitting around, and I've taken my time and not gotten one. But number one in this blind, this surprises the heck out of me. But it doesn't. This is New Riff Balboa Rye. This is their Kentucky Straight Rye whiskey, made with rare heirloom Balboa rye grain, exclusively grown for New Riff Distilling. 100 proof. I don't think I guessed a proof point on this one. But for this bottle, New Riff, with a 95% Balboa rye, 5% malted rye, aged at least 4 years. It only has a 4-year age statement on it. And for it to knock out the likes of a 12-year Penelope, Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye, Sagamore 10-year, Old Overholt 12-year. That is an incredible conclusion. I'm gonna bring my A back out here. Cheers to New Riff. That is a fantastic result. That is a fantastic whiskey. So thank you again for joining me. This has been fun. I hope everyone is being safe. If you're somewhere where it's snowy or icy, please be careful out there. And I would also remind you to please drink responsibly. And as always, cheers.